Yo, welcome to the Negative Zone, and thank you guys for tuning in to my Scream 6 review. And let's jump into it, starting off with the action. Scream 6 starts off with some heavy action, and for the most part, it keeps that same energy. The pacing was consistent, and every time Ghostface was on screen, you knew you'd be getting into some chasing action or some stabbing action. Whenever Ghostface was on screen, Ghostface was running all around New York, causing all types of havoc, man. It was a heavy packed in this movie. It might be the most heavy packed or action packed Scream movie that we've gotten so far. Although I have to admit that there were certain times when I felt that some scenes weren't needed, but most of those scenes were needed to flesh out these characters, the new stars of the franchise. And you know what? They understood their assignment. I actually found myself enjoying these characters a lot more in this movie compared to Scream 5. And I feel like this franchise no longer needs to rely on the legacy characters anymore. Alright, now moving on to the comedy section. This movie was a lot more comedic than the last film. Not comedic or funny in like a cringe or corny type of way. But most of the jokes, they landed for me. There's a phone scene in this movie without spoiling anything, but it was one of the funniest moments in this movie because of how unexpected it was. The ha-has did not ruin the tone or consistency of this movie. Right, and now for the drama of this movie, now this is where I have to dwell into some of the gripes I had with Scream 6. 2/3 of this story, I heavily enjoyed. The opening scene to this movie, let me tell y'all, the best opening kill scene in the Scream franchise. I was like, yo, what is going on? I was hooked after that. I don't know how they're gonna top that. I don't know how they're going to top that kill scene, but my expectations for the kill scenes are high now moving forward. But like I said, for the most part, this movie starts off with something fresh, something different, for the Scream franchise at least. But then the last 10-15 minutes of the movie, there lies your typical Scream ending. The typical who's under the mask and why. I was under the impression it would end a little bit differently than a normal Scream movie, but at the end of the day, it's a Scream movie. No disrespect, no, that's not a shot at the movie, because like I said, I heavily enjoyed this. But another gripe I had with Scream 6, of course with no spoilers, but it seemed like the director or the creators of this movie were afraid to kill off certain characters. There are a few characters who literally get stabbed to death. They get killed to death. And in the next scene, they're walking around like it's a typical Tuesday morning. Yeah, there's a lot of blood in this movie, but you ain't gonna see a lot of dead bodies. I mean, you will see a lot, but I wanted more. Now back to praising this movie, I gotta give them their thumbs up for the suspense in this. Man, this iteration of Ghostface is absolutely terrifying. I don't think I can get away from this one. And this Ghostface might actually get me. There's a 65% chance he might get me. Man, he was fast, strong, and brutal. That's what she said. But there were moments where my anxiety was high as hell in this movie, man. I was in the theater like, run, bitch! I'm confident enough to say that this is the scariest Ghostface we've had on screen, which leads to the horror section. So like I was saying, Scream 6 is scary obviously because of Ghostface. He was legit frightening in this. You didn't know what he was capable of, and literally everyone he went after suffered some kind of bloody fate. The convenience store scene that you guys saw in the trailer had me holding my breath in the theater. I was like, yo, these fools are about to die in this movie this soon? Damn. Ghostface brought his A game with the knife in this one. Whenever he was on screen, whenever you saw his mask specifically, oh, you knew somebody in that room was getting stabbed point blank. This Ghostface was savage. I cannot stress this enough. So I'm giving this film a B-, man. It's a good film, but you may need to have seen the previous Scream movies to fully appreciate the nods and Easter eggs. But other than that, this is a must-see for both Scream fans and horror fans in general. This is still a solid film in the franchise, and an excellent sequel to last year's Scream. Thank you guys for listening, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Let's do it.